Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Watch Darius TV. I'm back with another review, and this one is of The Boys, Season 3, Episode 7. Here comes a candle to light you to bed. Okay, so if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, share the video, all that stuff like that. Let's get right into the review, okay? So this episode was another crazy one. Like I said before, this season is just getting better and better and better. First off, the intro to this episode has another sort of warning, just like how Herogasm did, where it has a warning for death by suicide, sexual taboo in nature, saying that no living animals or people were harmed. I don't know why would they say that on a TV show. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. So it's another warning of how crazy this episode can possibly be. But The Boys is an insane show anyway. So honestly, the point of them having a warning for it's known for being quite a crazy show. But Starlight basically has been putting Vought totally on blast through social media and stuff like that. And Vought is basically sort of making Starlight look like she's like sort of the bad guy for outing, their personal business and stuff like that with Homelander. So, Ashley's been pretty much doing a whole bunch of cover up work. Even bringing up Kimiko as a terrorist and how I think she's a victim of sex trafficking and Maeve saying that Maeve is in rehab, but really she's locked up. And then she claimed that Soulja Boy is quote unquote dead, even though basically he blew up a bunch of people a few episodes ago. So basically, she's trying to cover up all the stuff that Starlight is just putting out there. Even just Ashley just basically being the cover up that she is. The legend basically tells Huey that Soulja Boy is a complete fraud, that he basically was not in wars and stuff like that, and he's basically saying he's a complete and total fraud. Obviously, the exact opposite of Captain America. Soulja Boy has been now he's been basically messing around with some old women, basically, having some parties and stuff like that, if you know what I mean, with some old women. We see that in a scene in this episode. While Butcher basically is hunting for Mindstorm. Homelander puts Maeve in a prison, and she spots that he has a bruise on his face, which really, shocks her. Like, wow, finally somebody actually made him physically, hurt. Homelander says she wants kids with Maeve, which was kind of odd. They had a little bit of a sort of romance in season one, but that was kind of done by that time. And then he ends up saying that he wants to harvest her eggs. Jeez, that was just sick. Just man, I don't really know what to say about that. It is. I don't know, Homelander. He's really just getting worse with each episode, basically. So he's holding Queen Maeve completely captive. I feel like she might possibly break out by the end of this season, I believe, but they were able to somehow put her in some underground lab and lock her up. I don't know how. I thought that she would be more powerful than that, but then again, I gotta remember that she is a Wonder Woman knockoff, so I guess she must not be as powerful as Homelander. So that was completely sick, though. But anyway, Kimiko and Frenchie meet up with MM Starlight. I love the way that MM, he has a DMX t-shirt on. RIP to DMX, man, the dog, man. But yeah, I love that shirt that he had on this episode. Black Noir, he basically hides out, and he's having visions of this sort of like knockoff Looney Tunes cartoon in his head, and these like cartoons that he's been drawing throughout the series and stuff like that. His imagination is telling him to basically stop hiding, and basically end up getting more of an insight to his childhood, which I really like, because this is completely different from the Black Noir that we basically saw in the comics. Anybody that know, we don't know nothing about him at all. We don't find out about him until the end of the comic books. So this Black Noir is completely different. It's not showing of just some mindless ninja robot being. Was an actual person that had a childhood. We didn't know what Black Noir was. We thought it was like how it was in the comic books where he was just a clone, but we see that he actually was a person, and we'll get more into him though. Now Butcher, also we see in this episode, he's been starting to bleed through his ear, so his brain is basically starting to bleed from this V24, so he's starting to have negative effects too. Then we see Mindstorm. Basically, he's sort of like the Vision of the Boys TV show. Vision is basically more of a robot and stuff like that, but this guy just has like mind powers, and he battles Butcher, Soldier Boy, and Huey. Butcher is he ends up Mindstorm ends up putting Butcher into some sort of like I don't know, like a mind coma or something like that. He does. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, he puts him into one. We have an insight also into Butcher's past too, kind of like how we got an insight into Black Noir's past. We get to an idea of Butcher's upbringing and stuff like that. With his abusive dad, who we saw I think in season one, maybe he popped up in season two. I'm not sure which one. And we basically see how he became so violent, and we see his brother Lenny also. You know, this brother Lenny who Huey reminds him of. So we get an idea of his upbringing and stuff like that. We see have a really just tough childhood. You know, him and his brother went through hell dealing with his abusive dad. I also noticed, speaking of Kimiko, unlike the comic book version of her, this Kimiko was fine with people actually like having physical interaction with her, being touched and stuff like that. Whereas in the comic book, she would straight up kill somebody for touching her. So that's pretty interesting. It's sort of really humanizing Kimiko in this series. Kimiko wants Starlight to get her some Compound V so she can get her powers back. So we see that. We were first seemed like she was happy to get her powers back, but now she wants to get them back. You know, and maybe she can start to become more, I guess, useful. Let's be real here. The character Kimiko, I know she's a really interesting, well-developed character compared to how she is in comic books, but let's be real here. We all miss her basically using her powers. Same goes for A-Train. It's interesting seeing these characters with powers, and it's kind of odd that in this season, all the original characters who were human, they're now developing powers. Butcher, Huey, they have powers now, whereas the original characters like A-Train and Kimiko, who originally had powers, now the powers are sort of depleted in this season. So I like that whole switch up going on there. It kind of reminded me a little bit of the TV show Heroes in season 3. Anybody ever seen that show? You know what I'm talking about? In season 3, they got this new drug that was able to give people powers and stuff like that, and certain people lost their powers, other people gained powers. So I like that kind of switch up they're doing. I like that. I think it's pretty cool in this show. Huey calls out Soldier Boy when basically all his basically fakeness about how he wasn't in the war and stuff like that, and all this other stuff like that. Basically calling him out to be a fraud. And basically Soldier Boy is gradually throughout this episode becoming more and more violent with Huey, threatening him, hitting him, and stuff like that. So yeah, he's basically showing that he might possibly have some type of feud with Huey sooner or later by the end of the season. The Deep wants his girlfriend to basically have like a three-way with a squid. So basically the Deep is getting more and more weirder. I don't know much I can say about him. He already basically had sex with an octopus and Herogasm, so now he's doing this. I don't know what I can say about him. He's just, I don't know. The Deep is a clown, so he's literally a clownfish. So I don't know what I can say about that. That was just weird. So I guess him and his girlfriend seem to have broken up. So I don't really care much about that though. Anyway, so back to Black Noir. So the cartoons show Black Noir's history with Payback and stuff like that. Soldier Boy stopped Black Noir's Beverly Hills Cop role that he wanted, and then Soldier Boy ends up beating him up, which is weird. Even in the cartoon version, seeing him getting beaten up is so unusual because Black Noir is such a force to be reckoned with. Seeing him getting beaten up by Soldier Boy just seemed almost unlikely. Like, wow, he really got beat up by Soldier Boy. I just never would have thought that would have happened, but I guess this is basically showing a more human version of Black Noir. So, wow, I never would have thought. When young Butcher attacks Man, he accidentally ends up hitting Lenny. Butcher basically is sort of showing he's a copy of his dad. So we see that a lot of the way how Butcher becomes who he is that he's copying his father's violent tendencies. All the violence that he has come from his dad, clearly. While Soldier Boy and Huey are basically looking for Mindstorm, they end up running into a priest, and Soldier Boy ends up killing a priest and a nun. And he says it was an illusion from Mindstorm. So I guess Mindstorm, I'm not sure how his powers work. He creates illusions in people's heads, and he mind controls people. I'm not sure what happened there, but these people were basically sent by Mindstorm, and basically Soldier Boy had to, kill him. So that was a shock. Huey was thinking that he had some type of PTSD, but he ended up being correct. These people were a trap. And so Homelander has a rally, over Starlight's speeches that she had, basically, exposing Homelander. Homelander's completely off his leash, and it's like basically sort of like a Trump rally. Basically, I guess that's what they're sort of getting with Homelander and a lot of his rallies he's doing. He seemed like he almost lasers a guy in a crowd he thinks was Soulja Boy, so he's basically just completely losing it. He's not going to be able to be in this free roaming position very long. He's going to end up completely screwing himself up because he needs a leash to be on. He needs an Edgar to keep him in check, but he doesn't have that no more. So he's doing all these speeches, yapping and stuff like that, but Homeland doesn't know what he's doing. He needs some type of guidance, somebody to keep him in control. Homelander seems like he seems to like milking this cow, so he still has this milk fetish going on. We haven't seen him do that in a while, so he still has that. But anyway, Victoria confronts Homelander about Soulja Boy. He was considering killing her, but she wants to do a business deal with him. I'm guessing her power isn't strong enough to take out Homelander, sort of like how Starlight isn't strong enough to take out Homelander, so I guess there's a limit to what Victoria is, whose head she can pretty much blow up. She ends up setting up some type of business deal with Homelander, and to me, I always feel like Victoria is kind of like the Littlefinger of the boys. If anybody knows who Littlefinger is, he's from Game of Thrones, how he was really sneaky and always plotting and stuff like that. I really feel like she is maybe might possibly be the overarching villain of this series. She's always going to be the sneaky one, so she's always going to be plotting and planning and stuff behind the scenes. I really feel like that's her role that she's going to play. She's not going anywhere anytime soon. I truly believe that. And we see that A-Train has survived his run-in with Blue Hawk. I thought it would have been amazing if he did die, but I'm happy he didn't. He's one of my favorite characters. And Ashley covers for him, shockingly, and says that Soulja Boy attacked him and Homelander at Herogasm, and they ended up giving Black Hawk's heart. Not Black Hawk, Blue Hawk's heart to A-Train. So now A-Train basically is back to having powers again. This is going to be interesting. I wonder how it's going to work. Is it going to be 10 times faster? Is he going to have some hate in his heart, if you know what I mean? I don't know, but that's I never would have thought. I didn't even think he would even had a heart after the way A-Train dragged him. I thought his heart would have been shredded, but wow, I was not expecting that twist at all. But now she's back to basically kissing A-Train's butt and stuff like that. He's back to having power, so now she's all like, "Oh, we have so many things planned for you, a movie and about you working with some guy that's going to help you get back together," and just blowing smoke up and just completely just went from saying F you to him to just now she's all over him and loving him and stuff like that. I wonder how his Homelander going to feel towards A-Train now finally having, I guess, his powers back. I don't know. But I definitely know it's not going to be exactly the same. After everything he's been through, I know that A-Train is going to have to change to some extent. He can't just be a superstar no more. Now he has to be, I don't know, maybe conscious now. Like everything you've been through, he's going to have to change. I really believe so. We're going to see in his next episode, though. Now, like I said, so Ashley's back to kissing his butt and stuff like that. Kissing up to him. He has a movie deal now. He's back to his old rich life. But he may not want it though no more. I honestly, I know this might sound kind of crazy. My theory is I wouldn't be surprised they put maybe a bomb in his heart or something. I know it sounds crazy. Something they can use to control him with. I just know they won't be able to just give him a heart like that. Something I feel like they might do some type of trickery or something. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? It's a theory. I know they won't just give him a heart like that and just everything be completely peachy keen, but I don't know. We'll see. I think he's going to change, though. I really think so. Frenchie finds a way to sedate Soulja Boy. So while Frenchie, was with MM, he ends up finding a way to sedate him. So that's going to be a new thing that they're going to be able to use to deal with to deal with Soulja Boy. So that was interesting on Frenchie's part. Kimiko tells Frenchie that they almost died because she has no power. So yeah, that's basically her reason for why she wants to get her powers back, is she wants to protect her and, Frenchie, and just be more, protect herself more, basically. So, it's interesting. I can't wait till she get her powers back, Now the A-Train has a good heart, like I said, we already said that. Will he change for good? We'll see. I believe so. A-Train says that the cartoon that basically that Black Noir was talking about, uh, Black Noir and Edgar had a plan to replace Soldier Boy with Homelander. Payback basically double teamed Soldier Boy, and when they use Soldier Boy, wait, let me see. Then when we see Soldier Boy, um, Payback was planning on to double teaming Soldier Boy. They all decided to jump on Soldier Boy basically to get rid of him. We end up seeing Soldier Boy basically burn Black Noir's face and also gave him brain damage, which is probably the reason why he doesn't speak and why his face was completely destroyed earlier in this season in flashbacks from I think Nicaragua or however you way to pronounce it. I hope I pronounced that right. But now we see why Black Noir's face is completely destroyed, and we see why he doesn't speak and why he might possibly be handicapped, I guess, in a way. He has basically some form of brain damage. We see that was from Soldier Boy, so we see why Black Noir is afraid of him. Black Noir was such a force of nature. To see him be scared is quite unusual. But Black Noir was Black Noir was definitely more successful at taking their lead. No, I'm sorry. Payback was a lot more successful at taking their leader down more than the Guardians did. I noticed that in this episode, the Payback basically in that cartoon, they all worked together to take down Soldier Boy. And I gotta say that they were a lot more successful than the Guardians did with the Guardians of Globe did Omni Man. Anybody ever seen Invincible show? I know I'm completely spoiling it, but the Invincible show, how they did in the first episode with the Guardians of the Globe and Omni Man. They basically, I'm saying that Payback did were more successful, obviously, because they really worked to take him out. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting scene. I wish I could have seen that, live action instead of a cartoon, but it was interesting to see that though. They had the Payback all working together to get Soulja Boy out of here. But the cartoon says no one knows Black Noir, but they know how sensitive and scared Black Noir is, and he needs to face Soldier Boy. Like I said, that was a very powerful scene. I liked that we were able to get more into who Black Noir is through the cartoons. I love that they used that way to get more in depth into his history. I thought that was really clever, perfect writing. I love that. I thought Black Noir was going to be some mindless, just killer, but basically they really gave more in depth into who he is. I love they did that. Really cool. Perfect writing this season. MM is basically mad at Todd that he took his kids to a Homelander rally, and MM ends up. Todd is starting to run off of the mouth a little bit too much, and MM ends up hitting him. So that kind of messed up his relationship with his baby mama and his daughter and stuff like that. So MM kind of put himself in a bad spot there. He's trying his best to save his daughter from these Homelander rallies, and Todd is overstepping his boundaries, but MM got in his feelings and hit him, so that's really not going to be good on his part. So MM got to tighten up. Homelander confronts Starlight and tries to get her to change on the camera and stuff like that, get her to basically change her views and stuff like that and clear up his name. But she has a hidden camera and is recording him that whole time. That could have really completely destroyed Homelander's life if she would have talked more about different stuff. So that was clever on Starlight's part. I like that scene. I hope that basically he really ends up getting his name completely screwed up over that, run off of the mouth too much, Huey saves Mindstorm from Soulja Boy and tells him that he will save him if he ends up saving Butcher. So Butcher ends up, we see in this flashback, Butcher leaves Lenny with his dad, and then Lenny ends up committing suicide. Completely screwed up, man. So now we see that's what happened to Lenny. Mindstorm ends up saving Butcher from his mind coma dream place, whatever that is. And Huey's about to save Mindstorm, but Soulja Boy comes and throws a knife into his eye. Man. And so then he ends up hitting, Soulja Boy ends up punching Huey, and basically the Butcher does not like that, and the Butcher was almost on the verge of frying Soulja Boy. And then Mindstorm tells him something before he ends up getting his head completely smashed in, and after that goes, so much happened in that whole scene. Starlight tells Butcher V24 is basically putting holes in their brains, which is why they're basically bleeding out their ears. They basically cannot use the drug too much anymore to fight Homelander. If they do, they will end up dying. So that's crazy. This drug is slowly killing them. So it's not the way it is in the comic books where they could just use it and then keep it and always have superhuman strength. This time around, they only got a certain amount of time to use this stuff, and they can't use it at all. I thought they were going to develop powers and be able to really go up against the Seven, but this time they completely threw that out the window from how it is in the comic books, and instead they only going to be able to really use this for this season. Then I guess in season 4 they back to being humans, or they gonna die. So that's a pretty interesting twist, different from the comic books. I really wanted to see Frenchie and MM end up getting the power, see what powers they were going to get, But I guess in that, MM is clearly smart enough to not want to take this stuff. And Frenchie, he's already on other drugs anyway, so I guess he ain't interested in taking V24. Butcher tells Huey they need more V24, even after Starlight said that you're not supposed to take anymore. But Butcher is so hell-bent on killing on killing Homelander, he just completely doesn't even care about Huey. After everything he went through with his brother Lenny, seeing that flashback, you would think that he would try to have some sympathy, but he's selfish and wants to take more V24 to take on Homelander. Butcher is just cold and heartless. He, like I said, he doesn't seem to care about Huey, and Starlight wants to save Huey from taking any more of this drug.